Today's offering is what I would best describe as an epic, the noun, not the adjective. Written by Alan Yuen and directed by Benny Chan, Shaolin is set during what is known as the warlord era of Chinese history. Not to be confused with the Warring States period, this occurred in the wake of World War I, which is why you see guns in this film and foreigners vying for power in the region. The film follows Huo Jie, played by Andy Lau, a fierce general fresh off a recent victory over a rival warlord that secured the city of Dangfeng in the Henan province. After killing his rival on the grounds of the Shaolin Temple, where many wounded soldiers and refugees were being cared for, he and his subordinate Cao Man, played by Nicholas Tse, bask in the victory as Ho's sworn brother Song Hu arrives. Feeling like he's being taken advantage of, Ho prepares to stage a coup in order to fully seize control of the city. However, everything goes wrong as Cao stages a coup of his own, leading to an all-out assault that results in Ho's wife, played by Fan Bingbing, getting injured, and his daughter at death's door, forcing him to turn to the very monks he disrespected for both treatment and asylum. His daughter succumbs to her injuries, and his wife leaves him in a fit of grief and rage, leaving him with absolutely nothing. From there, he begins his journey of repentance as he dedicates himself to the principles of the Shaolin Temple. What's interesting here is that while the same sort of plot tends to be pretty common, even beyond martial arts films, this film takes its time in establishing just who our main character was before the inciting incident. We see how he's paranoid, cruel, quick to anger and violence, all of which are antithetical to the ideals held by the Shaolin monks as they are depicted here. The film also goes to great lengths to emphasize this contrast as we see a number of the monks go out of their way to help the people around them. As such, the martial arts aspect of the film is kind of forced into the background as we focus more on the spiritual and emotional journey that Ho takes after he's lost everything, as well as showing how one can cultivate themselves outside of the martial arts, demonstrated with Jackie Chan's character. While a relatively minor character, he represents the middle point between Ho and the other monks, as he's just a guy trying to live by the example the monks set, but not entirely devoted to their lifestyle, choosing to cook rather than fight. That's not to say the martial arts sequences aren't worth commenting upon, as what we get here is an impressive show of acrobatic prowess aided by more modern advances in filmmaking technology. It's hard to comment on any one fight as they all look really impressive. I would have to say that the ones I felt had the most impact come from the final moments where the Shaolin Temple is being raided. Of course, you have the final battle between Ho and Cao, as you see the differences between Cao, who retains his ruthlessness we see from the beginning, and Ho, who no longer really wants to fight and is simply delaying him so the refugees and the other monks can escape. On top of that, you have the numerous smaller battles as the monks sacrifice themselves one by one, with this fight in particular, where Qing Keng, played by Jing Yu, faces Cao's right-hand man in a sword duel that has not gone his way. I love this sequence in particular because not only do we see a very badass way for a character to sacrifice himself, but his opponent's face is the perfect reaction of someone who didn't expect to be beaten by a guy he just stabbed. Overall, Shaolin is a film that strikes a balance between action and emotion, understanding the need for emotional investment in the conflict, as well as taking the time to properly establish those emotions. By the end of the film, the whole story is brought full circle in one intense emotional climax, ultimately ending on a bittersweet note. It's a sweeping martial arts epic with great action that adds to a very strong story. If you're looking for a martial arts film with a bit more gravitas, definitely put this film on your list.
却视而不见，规矩定放远，无心无觉无空，心甘情愿，简简单单陪你走后每一天。
Wait a minute, this film's a remake? Man, this feels like almost like a missed opportunity for some sort of show where I look at the original film and compare it to the remake. I don't know, something I feel like I do every year. I don't know. It'll come to me.